If we actually had a general strike, what would we ask for? Raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour? Enact legislation mandating 4 weeks paid time off and 2 weeks of sick time? Thoughts? Ideas? Sign and share the petition. https://h66sgfkqtw. Edit. If this post gets enough interest and suggestions, I'll write up a petition, post it here for everyone's input, and then I'll post it to change.org and copy the link here. I'm sure it will go nowhere, but what the hell? I don't have anything better to do today. Edit 2. Here's a draft for what I have so far. I tried to keep it short and to the point. I'm not much of a wordsmith, so suggestions are welcomed. I tried to make this as representative of everyone's suggestions as possible. The only thing I didn't include is a date for any sort of general strike. I think we should see if this gains any traction first, as unlikely as that may be. Edit. Last question. This petition needs a date for a call to action, generous strike. When should it be? Working people are striking en masse in France, and now it's spreading to UK. https://www.bloomberg.com/news/articles/20230131/strike. Britain is starting to look more like France. Join them in solidarity and to advocate for change in the United States. What we're calling for: raise the federal minimum wage to $25 an hour. Enact legislation mandating 4 weeks paid time off and 2 weeks of sick time. Pass a universal basic income. Enact legislation mandating Medicare for all. Annual increases in the federal minimum wage commensurate with the Consumer Price Index. 1 month paid maternity leave and free daycare in preschool for children. Amend the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, of 1938, mandating time and a half pay for work exceeding 8 hours per day. Enact federal legislation limiting rent increases to the increase in the annual consumer price index and no more. Abolish the Taft-Hartley Act. Enact federal legislation forbidding right-to-work laws and at-will termination. Some things I get behind. $25 an hour minimum wage. Steep punishments, either taxes or fines, against companies that price gouge. Legislation that firmly outlaws company towns with jail time. Legislation that gives vacation and paternity more union protections. None of this companies can sue strikers. BS. Better working conditions for railroad, medical, teaching, and pilot professions. If an institution receives public money, they must offer benefits that supply contraception, mental health, and trans-inclusive care. Compensation transparency on job postings. Auditing companies with PPP loans and assessing repayment. Ask for an automatic cost of living indexation. Rent, gas and food go up? So does your wage. A helmet, a shield, and a gas mask. Because if we general strike, we wage direct war with the rich and their cronies. $25 an hour. And rises with the living wage. Healthcare not tied to employment. CEOs can't make more than 10x the lowest paid employee. Profits first go towards employees. UBI. Limited stock options for Congress. Probably more. Full forensic accounting of every government employee done by an independent agency. Prison time for the offenders we know we'd fine. End Citizens United. Get money out of politics. $25 an hour. And breaking the fingers of people who raised prices for their products and services. Actual living wages that are adjusted as needed. Universal basic income that covers basic expenses such as electricity, food. Accountability for the billions given to Wall Street and corporations since COVID began. Criminalize stock buybacks and limit home ownership to 3 houses per person, 0 per corporation. $30 per hour minimum wage tied to cost of living for increases. Nationalized healthcare. Not just universal. Fire all existing cops and strip qualified immunity. 6 of the current SCOT-US justices deposed. Prosecute every Republican who has served in the House since 2020 for conspiracy to commit sedition, and the ringleaders for seditious conspiracy. Remove all federal anti-strike regulation in every industry. $2,500 per month UBI tied to cost of living increases. 10 days annual paid sick leave mandated by law for all positions, not just full-time. Minimum 4-week vacations legislated for full-time workers. Bar anyone from being CEO or sitting on the board of more than one publicly traded company at a time. Mandatory minimum sentences for white-collar crime. Legislate that all policy-setting positions in companies are personally liable for criminal wage theft. 1 year of paid leave for all parents upon the birth of a child, with the ability to stagger the years. Mom off the first, then dad the second, or vice versa. Social Security benefit floor raised to 150% the cost of living and tied to it. Remove the upper income limit on Social Security taxes. 80% tax on income over $500K, 90% over $1 million, 95% over $5 million, 100% above $10 million. Make it a crime against humanity to have a net worth over $1 billion. If we're going to go to war and shut down the entire economy, we don't compromise. I'd say more like $2,025 an hour minimum wage, with an automatic adjustment for inflation every year. Remove the cap on Social Security contributions, which would allow benefits to be raised while remaining solvent. Guaranteed 6 months paid parental leave, and 6 weeks paid vacation, and at least 2 weeks sick time. Universal health care. Actual enforcement of antitrust laws, and if needed, creation of new ones for things like media, tech, food, etc. Free post-secondary education. Both college, university and trade schools, job training programs. There's probably more, but that's off the top of my head. The wage of the people at the top should be a multiple of the poorest paid worker. That way, the only way for management to raise their pay is to raise ours. Tax the rich. $25 minimum income. The first one maybe won't pass, but it will give strength to Bernie Sanders be the next president. You need to think in the long run. Ask for $25 minimum income. They will negotiate to $17, but that's acceptable. You need a short and powerful claim to your movement have cohesion, or it will be divided and broken. Term limits for these rats in DC. No more career politicians. Don't ask for anything, just let them panic until they start making offers. I would ask for minimum wage to be brought up to whatever its current value would have been if it were tied to inflation when it was created. For minimum wage to be tied to inflation moving forward. A certain number of sick days mandated by law. A certain number of vacation days mandated by law. The elimination of loopholes in minimum wages laws. No more lower minimums for service workers. For example, the elimination of the slavery loophole in the 13th Amendment, that CEO, senior leadership pay be tied to a certain magnitude of the pay of their minimum worker. By law, protections for unions and union activity enshrined in law. There are probably more things I would demand, but this is what I have for now. 25 per hour. Production to price ratio cannot inflate the cost of living. Is retroactive and no grandfathering. Limited board ownership of an entity which is publicly traded and any Inc. company with a valuation of 10M or more caps all compensation at $250K for all director-level employees and above. No employees or board members have health insurance any better than the lowest paid full-time employee. 4-day work weeks and 30 days paid vacation per year. Paid maternity and paternity leave. 90 days. Paid holidays and double time and triple time are tax exempt. Employing part-time employees is punished through a poverty tax at 75% of the difference in full-time employment positions of skilled labor. To include certifications, which exclusively pays college tuition debt for former students who are working in their degree field earning less than $50K per year, not including benefits. I would 100% start with overturning Citizens United. That would force politicians to start listening to us. Universal healthcare at that point would be the next obvious step forward so that people are not tied to their jobs to stay alive. Just those changes would be a great, and unlikely, start. But the even more ambitious goals would be taxation on profits that are not given back to employees, and decreasing the shareholders' grip on the company's finances and stock buybacks. Netflix allowing password sharing. I assume you are in the US since it's mostly Americans not saying which country. To fix your damn election system. To remove the two-party system. Something representative with no gerrymandering. And change how the president is elected. Your electoral college is so outdated. In general, winner takes it all is so undemocratic. Free health insurance.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.